Mr. White is 64 years old. He is a very polite gentleman, kind and stubborn, and he likes to do everything according to the rules. Before meeting Lin Yu, he had already lived in this house for 20 years. This house is not only a place to live for him but also a harbor of his memories. 20 years ago, Mr. White and his wife, Elana, moved here because Elana liked the quiet community, the garden around the house, and everything about it. Over the years, he has spent countless days and nights here, witnessed the changing of the seasons, and also witnessed himself growing from young to mature. This house holds many precious memories for him, including his late wife, Elana. Elana was Mr. White's beloved, and they had many happy times in this house. After Elana passed away, Mr. White chose to continue living here because this place holds their shared memories, and he didn't want to leave. 10 years ago, when Lin Yu saw the information about the house for sale, she was immediately attracted. She had always dreamed of having a house of her own, a place she could call home. When she first walked into this house, she was touched by its warmth and tranquility. She could feel the history of the house and the stories it held. When signing the purchase contract with Lin Yu, Mr. White politely made a request. Miss Lin Yu, I've given you a price below the market value, but I hope to continue living in this house and retain my right to reside here. This house means a lot to me, and I really don't want to leave. His words carried a hint of pleading, but his tone remained that of a gentleman. He explained that this house holds many beautiful memories of him and his late wife, and he wanted to stay here to commemorate their love. Lin Yu understood his feelings and could sense Mr. White's deep affection for the house. She smiled and said, Mr. White, I completely understand how you feel. This house is indeed very special, and I also hope to preserve its history and memories. Therefore, she made a proposal. If you continue to live here, I hope you can help me with the affairs related to the house, including maintenance and handling documents. Although Mr. White was a little hesitant, he eventually agreed to Lin Yu's conditions. They reached a tacit understanding. Mr. White would continue to live on the 3rd floor of the house, while Lin Yu would live on the 2nd floor. They lived independently but respected each other. Mr. White had studied computer programming in university when he was young and was very passionate about this field. Back then, he would often sit in front of the computer all day, immersed in the world of code he loved. Even after graduation, he continued to maintain this habit. He enjoyed thinking and solving problems in front of the computer, and this focus brought him great satisfaction. Even after retirement, he still spent a lot of time in front of the computer, continuing to learn new programming knowledge and exploring new technologies. After Lin Yu moved in, Mr. White's life didn't change much. But as time went by, some things were quietly changing. Lin Yu is a person who loves life. She enjoys planting flowers in the garden, trying out new recipes in the kitchen, and decorating the living room with cozy ornaments. Her arrival brought vitality and warmth to the house. Although Mr. White is not very good at expressing himself, he can feel these changes. He began to notice that the flowers in the garden were more vibrant. The aroma from the kitchen was more tempting, and the living room was warmer. One day, Lin Yu knocked on Mr. White's door and said with a smile, Mr. White, I'd like to invite you and Andrew to have dinner with me. I've just learned to cook a new dish and would like you to try it, Mr. White was a little surprised, but he still accepted the invitation with the demeanor of a gentleman. That evening, they sat at the dining table, sharing not only the delicious food but also their stories. Mr. White talked about his adventures when he was young, Andrew shared his childhood stories, and Lin Yu spoke of her passion for life and her dreams. They realized that despite the age gap, they all had a passion for life and the pursuit of beautiful things. From then on, they began to communicate more. Lin Yu would invite Mr. White to participate in community activities, and Mr. White would lend a helping hand when Lin Yu needed it. The relationship gradually became closer. Mr. White found that Lin Yu's presence enriched his life and gave him a partner to share it with. Mr. White had agreed to Lin Yu's request, but he never felt like he was fulfilling an obligation. On the contrary, he found helping Lin Yu with the house affairs to be a pleasure. He enjoyed fixing things and organizing documents, which made him feel fulfilled. He always carefully dealt with every detail to ensure that everything in the house was in order. He repaired every corner of the house, built a patio, fixed the plumbing, and so on. Lin Yu was filled with gratitude when she saw Mr. White's efforts. She said softly, Mr. White, you're really amazing. I don't know how to thank you.